Good morning, good morning, good morning. So glad that you are back for another segment of Stronger and Better. Got my mom's here. I got another guest that's going to be coming in with us. We're going to be talking about uh, deal with my attitude. So this should be exciting, really from a women's perspective and all that kind of good stuff. So please make sure you're saying hello to us as you're coming in. I see people are coming in now on different platforms, and just say hello to us. So glad to have each one. And good morning, good morning. What's going on? Glad to have everybody here on today. We got people coming in. Love y'all so much. Please make sure that at the bottom of the screen, you see the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, where we have a lot of exciting and fun stuff that's coming out within the next several months. We really want to grow that and really want to make sure that people are getting stronger and better each and every day. Hey, my auntie on here. Hey, auntie. What's up, baby? What's going on? Glad to see you all today. We got others coming in. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Please make sure that you share this also. Like I said, it's going to be an exciting topic on today. We always have fun when my mothers are here. I feel like I'm sitting too high. I don't even know how to lay this chair down. But yeah. But wait a minute, that's too low. But all right. But anyways, glad to have everybody here with us today, and glad to see everybody coming in. I don't want to prolong this, because a lot of times when we get to talking together, we have to cut it short, and people want a part 2, part 3, and everything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and invite Tiffany in. Good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning. How are you all?
Good. Glad to have you here with us on today. Also, this is my friend Tiffany, Lameia, and glad to have her here. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Sure. I am Tiffany Lameia. I am from North Alabama. I am a writer, minister, life coach, and I'm just excited to be here. I believe in relationships. I believe in communication. So I'm just grateful that my friend invited me to be a part of this broadcast this morning.
Glad to have you guys here. And y'all know my mothers. Y'all want to say something about yourselves? Y'all good?
We're good.
So anyways, y'all know them, y'all know what they do, what they say, how they act. So glad to have everybody here. And we just want to talk about today, deal with my attitude, and really talk about from a women's perspective. On last week, we had our guys on, and we really talked about what a man wants, and it was really a great topic. And I wanted to, go on the other side and see what the women want, and really talk about how women are changing in today's society, and really talk about how the Christian woman is to live, and how to deal with different situations, circumstances, and how to develop also. So I guess the first question I want to ask on today is, what does a woman want? And I'm gonna just open up the floor and allow y'all to answer. What does a woman want?
Okay. A woman really wants a man who is respectful, who's honest, who's trustworthy, who's reliable, who is secure, passionate, compassionate. That's what I would want in a man.
And you want love.
Yeah.
And you want to know that you have love. Today, women want more opportunities. They want to be heard, and they want to someone to listen to them, and kind of guide them in a way without abusing them.
Right.
They want better jobs and that kind of thing. And sometimes, in talking to women, I know Reverend Robertson and I talk to a lot of women, and we find out that so many of them have had such a bad past. They want to be able to get over that past so they can move on in life.
Okay.
And
Tiffany?
Yes, from my perspective, we want to feel like we are not in competition with our spouse. We want to have that support that we are a team. And one of my friends said, more importantly, I want to be understood for the woman I am, not from any other woman's perspective. So I need you
Mhm.
to be able to want to know me and don't think you know me because you knew other women.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm.
Right.
that's good. Look, my other sister got on here, Marissa.
Hello, my darling.
Rissy said, "Good morning. A woman wants y'all to keep it real, lose the ego, and stop being dumb."
Okay.
Oh,
That's
Lord,
good,
Rissy.
Marissa, you
That's great.
I guess we all
that's good what she
Yeah.
said because
Mhm.
of the fact that so many young women today, they're so hungry for different things from a man that they accept anything. And you know, I tell my girls, you don't have to do that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
No, you ain't got to do that.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
if you know the Lord is going to send you that person
That's
that you
right.
need. It might take a little time, but you'll get it.
No, I think that's good. I think that's good in
Mhm.
terms of even what Rissy says. I
Yeah, it's
think
good.
men, and that's something we talked about on the show with the guys, that men do have egos,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and a lot of times with our egos, the way we are approached
Mhm.
or the way we are treated
Mhm.
affects that ego.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes,
That's
yes,
true.
yes.
And I think, just listening to what you guys were saying about relationships, love, and all that kind of good stuff, that men really want women to also how they talk to them or
Right,
relate
Mhm.
with
right,
them,
right.
and that's something I wanted to talk about too in terms
Mm.
of the attitude of a woman today, even versus a woman of the past. What do you see some of the differences,
Mhm.
good or bad?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
You want to start, mother?
I'm thinking.
Tiffany
I'm
looked
thinking
like she
about.
had something to say.
You got something to say, Whitney?
I think
Yeah.
that there has definitely been some evolution over time in the way women maneuver and communicate, some good, some bad. Sometimes because of a woman's experience, she feels like the louder she is, the more she's going to be heard. I think that there's value in being able to communicate what I want without being nasty in my communication. So the delivery is important, and I think that over time we may have, in some ways, lost that essence of still being able to be feminine, but be able to get our point across. Because I've seen ladies, especially older generations, be able to get what they want without being loud and getting it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
That's
I think
right.
it's true too. I think even
Mhm.
what you're saying about women losing their feminine aspects.
Mhm.
Right, right,
There's a lot of masculine
right,
Masculine women.
women
Yeah.
now, and we're not talking about physical,
Mhm.
but
right,
the mental, emotional state of the
right,
woman.
right.
Mhm.
They want the man to be up under their control.
Mhm.
And you're not going to be happy that way.
Mhm.
I don't care who it is, and you might have a lot going for yourself, but if you don't know how to speak and talk in a way that in a conversation that the two of you are having,
Mhm.
then you just lost out.
Right.
I don't care how pretty you are, or how dressed up you are, and things like that. It doesn't matter. When you take that from a man, he'll move on to somebody else who, because I've heard some women say, well, she doesn't, they say she doesn't look like nothing, but she may not look like anything. But what
Mhm.
her conversation is,
Right. Right.
it get over to her. He bypassed how she looked, but how she makes him feel.
It looks so
Mhm.
temporary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Looks so temporary. Once you get used to a person, they see
Yeah.
that attitude.
Yeah. And
That,
oh, why you
well,
wait a
wait a
minute.
minute. I always say that even a pretty girl can be ugly, turn ugly just off of her mouth. It's
Mhm.
your mouth that make you ugly.
Right. And
Right.
see, that's another thing I was about to say too. Even with women today, what they are trying to do, with all the extra hair, the what you put in your lips and,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
your jaw, your bust, your booty lady, and all of that. But when you when you get home, all that come off, and then he has a new person. He has another person. So that, and I read that in a story about a doctor, and he was, a plastic surgeon, and he had a new nose, new jawbones, new neck, and I think it was the bust, the hips. But what he didn't, he said later on in life, he thought that he was the top man, but later on in life, he realized that he had failed because he changed all of that, but he didn't change who the person was, the personality. And that was still there. So it doesn't matter how beautiful you make yourself. If that personality, that ugliness on the inside has not been taken care of, you're still the same person. Hello.
That's right.
You gonna say something, Dr. Rob?
No, I was just saying okay for her. Yeah.
All right. Well, Reathie said something else. She said, as we as women should work on our past as well, and not make the good guy that does come along pay for the past jerks. You call them jerks.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Right. And sometimes as she's talking, Reverend Rob, we talked about this. Sometimes that happens because that is what you are used to. You've seen that so much in your family line and that kind of thing. So that's how you act. And so you have to learn how to act a different way. If you see this problem, you see the problem in your family line. And I told somebody that once before, down in my line when I was coming up, I had seen two or three of my family members they'd gone to college, but yet still they end up getting pregnant. And I made up in my mind, and I saw what it did because their children were raised by the grandmother. And so I made up in my mind, I said, that's not going to be me. And it's something like that. You have to look down your family line and see how many people who has done what you are talking about, and you find out how you can change your life.
That's right. Change you.
Yeah. I think too. I was sitting here thinking about how you're talking about generational curses.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people don't think about generational curses in terms of the type of relationships that we get into.
Right.
Also, some people were born into negative relationships. That's what they used to, and they really almost feel like that's what love is.
Yes.
The fussing, the fighting, the cursing each other out, them making up, and then, but at the end of the day, you're still fighting again, and you can't stand that person.
Right.
And, it's those generational curses that we have to learn how to cancel on both sides, men and women. And I think women do a better job at looking at those emotional issues and all that kind of stuff. But men have to do a better job in terms of relating to that also.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What was you gonna say? You gonna say something else?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Your phone going on and off, Tiff. Was you gonna say something?
No, someone was calling me. I had to decline.
So
technology.
Right. Miss Henderson said, I used to have to tell my students that women need to learn how to close doors. If you leave a door open, he will walk through it.
Yes, that's true.
That's true.
And you have to learn how to set boundaries.
Right.
Yes. Let's talk about what in terms of boundaries.
Setting boundaries. Some women don't know how to set boundaries. When we were talking about women yesterday versus women today, those women yesterday, I think about my mom. They were, taking care of the husbands while the husbands work, having babies, being a stay-at-home mom. Where today is different as far as setting boundaries. They didn't actually have to set that many boundaries because the husband was always the leader of the home. and they were the homemaker of the home, making sure everything was taken care of. These days, women are more loose. They are more vulnerable. Some women who are not strong, women, we're getting in there. Anyway, women who are not women, some women are more vulnerable. And as I was saying, they don't set boundaries with men. What I mean by setting boundaries is mean that you let them know who you are, what you're going to accept, and what you're not going to accept. So when you do that and set those boundaries and communicate very well with them, then you'll have a great relationship. But a lot of women do not set boundaries. They just allow men to just do whatever they want to with them, about them, whatever. And that's not a good thing. And I find a lot of women, young and old. And why do they do that? Because they are insecure. And they feel like if they, you meet a man and you feel like, oh, he has this, you have that. You're looking at all these material things that they have. So when you look at all of that, okay, I'm not going to say anything about this girl, because guess what? I know, but when he get what he wants, he out.
Yeah. Well, let me ask Tiffany. Tiffany, as somebody younger, and in a different generation in terms of relationships, and I don't want to just limit this to just male female relationships with your girlfriends, and how you even relate to them, because now girlfriends are having conflict with each other, also in terms of jealousy or whatever it may be in life. How do you see things different from maybe your mom, or how do you act differently, or how should we act differently in today's generation?
So what I've actually noticed is my mom's generation, they're more guarded than we are when it comes to same-sex relationships. Like I have girlfriends, but it took me working on myself, and I sometimes feel like it's hard for us to embrace sisterhood when we're jealous of each other or when we're insecure.
Yes.
And for me personally, I went through a span of time where I was isolated and I wouldn't let anybody in, male or female. And I had to realize that the enemy had intentionally allowed me to become guarded so that I could not minister in the place that I needed to. Because if women are my ministry and I'm guarded with them, then how can I minister to them? So for me, it was about intentionality, and it was about understanding that I am who I am and they are who they are. And real love is being able to look at each other and see each other for where they are and not try to change each other, but try to pray each other through things. So my sisterhood, we'll go from laughing and cutting up to praying for each other to speaking over each other's life. But it's no competition. We're not jealous of each other. We're just comfortable with who God created us to be. And I think until we as women, from male relationships to female relationships, until we become comfortable with who God created us to be, we're going to always be at conflict with everybody around us.
That's right.
Amen.
No, that's good. That's good. So Ms. Thompson has said something which was interesting. It says, honor is the key. I honor myself and I honor men, regardless of the bad relationships with an absentee father where it all began.
Yes.
And I think that's interesting, especially when we talk about relationships.
Right.
And I think that's real in today's society also, because there are a lot of absentee fathers when it comes to dealing with the children.
Yes.
Especially, even we're talking about now how important that is for women and how they grow. And like, I look at my daughters now, the way they look at me, and they really watch me. They watch the way I behave, how I talk to certain people, the way I even treat their mother. In terms of all that, I think it's important for us to kind of talk about that also. I don't know if you have something to say about
that's true, because when you have children who have a father in the children who have fathers in their lives, they do watch their fathers. And when they go older, they're looking for a man like their father. They've a good father, a good husband, a good man. That's how come it's very important that, and I know that the pastor does that we take our girls out. The fathers take their girls out to nice restaurants and and things like that. And they know they don't need your money because they have money, because they've been taught from a young age, and they've been to the finer restaurants and places. So that does not, phase them or things like that, make them so excited that they got to be so vulnerable to you because they've already been there. But versus even young men who does not have fathers in their homes, and their mother trying to be a father and a mother. Women, you cannot be fathers and mothers. You can only be a mother. They need a role model who is a father. So it's very important that single women whose children, I know that you have some single mothers who does very well in raising their children, very well, but some don't. And so those who don't and can't, then should always seek someone. I'm talking about Christian women, someone who pray and ask God to send someone to be a role model to that son, so that he can grow up and knowing how to be a man and what God is expecting from him. So how to treat a woman. So that's what I look at, but it's phenomenal how some young girls, and I'm just talking about yours, young children too, who look up to their fathers, where they know who they are. When they get out and get ready to go to college, they're not looking for anything; they're looking for a career.
And I think it's the opposite also, how kids, the children look at the mothers also as an influence, and especially the girl relationship. We have a lot of younger mothers in today's society, a lot of mothers who are still out there doing their thing, and their daughters are
raising them,
are watching that and becoming, direct how would you say, images of who they are. And
they lose themselves.
We have to watch that, because I think it's especially with the mothers being younger, it's the mothers not wanting to lose their youthfulness, but at the same time be a mother. How do you balance that?
Well, a lot of times they don't really know how to be a mother with the new generation. With so many things in this world, it's just okay for the world, for a world's eye of view. Even like you were talking about fathers, but see, we were raised, my sisters and brothers and I, we were raised with our mom and our dad, and our dad was very strong in the family as far as when it came to his girls, and it was 4 girls and 4 boys, but yet still he told all of us what to do and what not to do. And he would tell my mom, tell the girls, I could hear him sometimes, tell the girls to do this and do that. And sometimes my dad had more instinct right away than my mother did, because that kind of stuff. But see, my mom was not a stay-at-home mom. They had a trucking business, so she worked, and they both worked, but then we worked together, all of us. But it had a different closeness with our family than they did the family next door. So you see, there's still a lot of different ways that we come up in that makes us strong in different areas.
Tiffany, you're a young mom. What's your thought?
The parenting dynamic is definitely different. I know that our children are now exposed to things that we weren't exposed to. I was a youth pastor for 17 years, and now I am a single mother also. So I understand that, like, my daughter comes home and told me about stuff that's happening at school, and I'm like, what? And she's in 7th grade, middle school. And so I have to, number one, for me personally, I have to create a place for my child to feel like she can come and talk to me. Because if I don't create that avenue, then I understand that the world will teach her the wrong way.
That's right. And you said the right thing, baby, because you have to even with our kids coming up, we told them, try to tell them about all the negative things that was happening in life. Now, kids don't do anything they want to do whenever they get to a certain age, but at least you have told them, and when they see these things and they say, mama and daddy didn't lie to me. I see this. And this is one of the things that I'm not going to do because of the fact that they have already heard it from the mom and daddy, and they would see the tricks that their friends would try to play on them to get them to do wrong.
Yeah. And so I agree. And so for me personally, my child, I understand that God, she's a gift from God. And I think that until parents understand that and don't look at them as a burden, they may not actually occupy the parent role that they need to occupy.
Right.
I don't feel like her coming into my life kept me from being able to live. And
Right.
so to me, I understand that I have an assignment from God and my child is my assignment. So I'm going to always choose my child. I'm going to make sure that I guide her as best that I'm capable of. I know nobody's perfect, but that's just me personally. It's a different beast though. It really is. And if you're trying to grow up with your children, it's going to be hard for that child to experience parenting.
Right. And you said a word, you really said a good word right there, because so many parents now, they're growing up just like their kids. There's no different to the kid.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Yeah.
they're
friends. They're
yeah,
friends.
she said, my mama, my friend. She cool. She cool.
Yeah.
She got it going on.
You know, they're young.
Yeah.
And
I'll be her friend, but she know. She already know. I'll be like, look, don't try me.
So much technology out here too. It's different than when we were raising our children. I mean, you got so much in schools now. They teaching kids how to have sex at 9 years old. So it's a whole different. Then you got all these games on videos. You got so much stuff out here now that you didn't have when we were raising our kids. So even we tell them one thing and then they looking to see what they're doing another way, and so you just have to pray. The kids just have to pray for the kids now because they're exposed to a lot of things.
Yeah. And so
and give them God.
Yeah, give them God. It's all on them.
So when we talk about dealing with my attitude, really from a woman's perspective, because you guys hit on a lot of nuggets in terms of even being single moms, because all that affects who you are, and, how you operate. And at the end of the day, we have to be real that a lot of women had to step up because the men were not in place. They weren't doing what they were supposed to do. And they stepped up and they handled business for the household, whether that's being the provider, taking care of the kids, getting them where they need to be, and at the same time, still trying to have their life.
Right.
And still have some kind of what we call some kind of sort of balance. And I guess my question is what kind of attitude should be portrayed? Should the attitude of I'm doing what I got to do, I don't need nobody else, or should the attitude be something different of I need help or support? What should it be for a woman? And how should it be portrayed?
Well, you have women with men in the home, fathers in the home who are absent. They stay there every day and they're still absent. They're not doing anything. Some of them don't work. Some of them do work. When they come home, they just want to eat and watch TV. They don't pay attention to the children. So it takes a strong woman to actually deal with the man when you're talking about in that aspect. It takes a strong woman to do that because a woman cannot be timid. She has to be a great communicator. She has to in her attitude has to be, I wouldn't say she shouldn't be, but have a strong attitude. What I mean by the strong attitude is an attitude that's always telling you instead of asking you, being boastful instead of being quiet. You have to watch your attitude when you're dealing with a man like that. Make a suggestion, make suggestions, and sometimes you have to put your foot down. In a way, but sometimes you put your foot down without cursing. I'm just saying. Do sometimes you get to the point. Been there, done that. I'm just saying. Been there, done that. You get to a point where look, me tell you something. Yeah, look, either you're gonna do this or you're gonna do that. I ain't saying that.
Cut somebody out.
No, not that kind.
That's Steve from
But-
Detroit.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to be really a strong woman. You cannot be a timid woman. You cannot be a woman who's insecure. Women who are insecure, who have men who are absent in the home and live in the home, their relationship is going to be terrible, and their children's relationship with their parents are going to be terrible because they're going to become rebellious.
Yeah.
Because of the chaos in the home.
And another way too that sometimes women have a bad attitude. They don't really feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Some may not have accomplished in life what they wanted to accomplish, and some may have gotten overweight and that kind of thing. And the least little thing their husband may say to them, they jump all over him. I mean, if you said pass me a
You ask them what time is it?
yeah, pass me a glass of wine. Can't you get it yourself? Can't you see the clock up there? I mean, that's what some people act. I mean, it's always a negative attitude. You have to watch yourself. And so sometimes even when young women are tired and stuff like that, and you just say, I've been working all day just like you have. You know, you've been out there, but I've been in here. You know, and that mouth, you have to close it up sometimes.
Yeah, for me, when I was married, when I was internalizing frustration, I realized that I had a huge attitude. I could be happy and laughing on the phone, and my ex-husband would walk in the house, and then I could feel it was like a switch turned on when the door opened, that I had an attitude with him because I was just mad and bitter. And I realized that a lot of times, ladies, especially when we get tired, fatigued, exhausted, worn out, whether it's with the kids, whether it's with work, we begin to project something that we don't even realize we're projecting this level of energy. And so my thing is, if we want to be able to exude a positive attitude, even when you're being direct, even when you're being firm, it's about making sure it's coming from a good place inwardly, not from the hostility and the aggressiveness. So ladies, when you take care of yourself, it makes it a lot easier to take care of and deal with problems around you. You got to make sure you're in a good mental space with God, working out, whatever it is, going to the spa, getting you some relief, because we're not good for everybody else if we're not good for ourselves.
No, that's true.
That's the truth.
Yes,
That's the
yes,
truth.
that's the truth.
Yeah, that's a great point in terms of talking about even using outlets or ways to get yourself back into a different mental state.
Right.
And it's so important. You know, you can get so frustrated sometimes, and not just anybody, that's male or female.
That's right.
So frustrated, you got to learn not to let that stuff out on who you with or who you're around, your girlfriend, my boys or whatever, you know, and you know, really learn how to channel things.
Right.
We got a lot of angry people today.
Right.
And they using weed as an excuse to calm down and all this kind of stuff. But no, there's ways you need to channel your energy and you know, really
and but the key is you have to get closer to the Lord. Right. He's the only one that's going to help you with this.
That's true. You can
because being a counselor, all day you listen to people's problems.
Yeah.
And you come home, and I had to. Well, I did this years ago when I was working for the VA federal government. I would come home and I would make time for me, even with my husband. I would say, "Honey, I needed." And this got to the point where I didn't have to say it anymore. But I used to have to say, "I just need a minute," and I would go and I would sit down. And I just sit down and I don't think on anything. I just sit down and just focus and just be still. Because if I didn't, I would end up, he'd be like, Sting, wait a minute. I am your husband. I'm not your client. So you have to be careful with that, because you'll find yourself like, you be counseling. I'm not your client. I'm your husband.
Yeah.
Who you counseling? Your shift is over, isn't it? What time?
Yeah, but that goes back to setting boundaries because even I know you're in counseling, but a lot of us will bring our work home or our frustrations with what's happening in the outside world into the home, and that's supposed to be our place of escape, our place of peace. And so if we don't set boundaries, okay, let me take a moment in my car and breathe and release all of that stuff. So when I walk in, my children and my spouse don't feel the brunt of what is happening in the world, because we're supposed to be operating at a different level in this home right here. So it's about protecting that domain.
That's right. That's it.
And another thing people need to know, that when you take deep breaths, and just 10 at a time, and blow it out, you will see that your whole body will change for the better.
Releasing.
Breathing techniques, all that. Meditation, just take a moment to ease your mind. Now, there was a question that came across from Quintina. It says, what do you suggest after trying to suggest or state issues several times, but seems that do not be heard unless become loud and have attitude? Oh.
So a lot of times you have to put what you want to be heard. If you want to be heard, you have to put it in a form of suggestion, or put it in the form of asking a question. What do you think about such that said that this is you give me your true answer. I was thinking about this, and I just want to know what do you think about this. And 9 times out of 10, you are able to talk about whatever it is that you want to discuss, and not trying to tell them this is the way it should be. But you are asking a question about how it should be. And I guarantee you always come across where the two of you will end up agreeing. Might not be on your side, might not be on his side, but the idea that you have equal opinions in whatever it is.
I want to put my 2 cents in. I think timing is everything. Also, when it comes, a lot of times, especially when you're in a relationship, you got this issue, you coming in the house and you just da 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 da. Yeah. A lot of times men don't operate like that. So you got to make sure that the timing is right. If he says, I don't feel like talking right now about that, wait for the right moments, ease it in later or whenever it is, and then I think you get better results.
You do.
And then sometimes if you find your partner, he's not a good communicator, and he does not like confrontation, then you feel like he's not listening, because he has to be a good listener. Talking about communication skills. If it's a pattern, then both of you should seek counseling, because communication is so key in marriage. And if he feels like that he's not a great communicator and you are, and he's not really responding to you, it's the reason why he's not responding. So if you find this to be a pattern and it's an interference and a hindrance to your relationship, then you seek counseling. And I'm serious about that one.
Yeah, and I think even what she says about you have to become loud and have an attitude.
Yeah,
I don't think you're ever gonna get any results.
No,
once you get to that point, and talking about dealing with an attitude, I'm not dealing with that attitude. It's just it's automatically gonna be a shutdown.
Yeah, right. Now somebody gonna walk out the door.
Yeah, or it's gonna blow up to the point where nobody's hearing each other. Yeah. They're not. Go ahead.
I think that number one, you have to choose what's more important, being heard or being heard. And like Pastor LeRoy said, the timing, women, we just feel like if it's on our hearts or minds, we have to release it immediately. And pay attention to when you bring information to them, or either set a time aside, or like, hey babe, I've got something important I need to talk to you about. Can we schedule to do it at this time? How does this work for you? That way everybody is mentally prepared. And if it's something that you feel is very pressing and you're emotional about it, you've also had time to calm down and diffuse some of that emotionalism and make sure that you're communicating in a way that's going to be received. And then the second thing I would say is, if you're dating someone and you're not married to them, and they can't communicate with you and they're not listening to you, why are you there?
Well, that's true.
You cannot build a marriage off that.
If you're not married, I can get that when I'm talking about marriage. That's right. You key. That's key right there.
Why you even deal with that?
That's key right there. Yeah.
That's a big sign.
It is. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
And another thing, Tiffany, that was great. Another thing is, even when you're dating, you need to study your partner. You need to know what makes them tick. A lot of times people be in relationship for years. And I'm talking about relationship. I'm not talking married couples. Mm-hmm. And they don't know one another.
Wow.
And they decide to get married and they still don't know one another. That's one thing that's key with me in counseling. I make sure you know. If you don't know one another, you don't need to be getting married. You don't know nothing. You think you know, but you don't. Mm-hmm. Why do you act like you do? What makes you do the things that you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really know one another.
Yeah.
So you have to study one like you study yourself. You learn that part, learn who they are.
Yes.
I've heard some men say, I love you, but I don't like you. Huh?
Yeah. Ms. Thompson said dating is for collecting data. That's true.
Yeah, that's true. That's what they need, collect data.
That's true.
Yeah. I used to do it. I put you through the 3rd degree.
Yeah.
I did. Still, and I put my clients through the 3rd degree.
Oh, she tough.
And I would get to know the family too.
Yeah.
So that's important.
That is very important.
That's true. So one of our subjects that we talked about with the men was submission. Mm-hmm. And really dealing with a woman's attitude on submission, because it's a lot in terms of the attitude of some women is that they don't have to submit, or submission is demeaning. It is it's lowering who they are and the value of it. So I want to get y'all intake on what submission is.
Well, submission is reverence, it's subordination, it's reliance, it's self-denial. Because I'm just gonna have to go biblical way. The Bible says submit to one another. Everybody don't want to see that one. Yeah. That's the first thing he said. Submit to one another. And it says the wife to submit to her husband as unto the Lord in Christ. If he's in Christ. If he's not in Christ, who we gonna submit to? So that means and the husband, his submission is to she is supposed to put her interests, all of her interests before his. Love his wife as Christ loved the church. What did Christ do? He cherished it. He loved it. He took care of it. He did all of that. So if you don't know how to love yourself and take care of yourself, and I tell men this, if you don't know how to keep your body clean, and you don't know how to take care of your wife, he said, love her as Christ, as you love yourself, cherish yourself. So if you take care of yourself, then you're supposed to take care of your wife.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to take care of your wife.
You're right.
So that's the way you have to look at that. You have to, and that takes two people. And they talk about that submitting to one another. Yeah. Okay. It takes both to do that. And it's not a lot of men think and women can be a strong woman and can get torn down with that word submission. You do what I say. That's what the word said. You do what I say. See, the word said in Christ. In Christ. You say what I tell you to say, woman. That's what the word.
That's dominant.
That's dominating one another.
That's
yeah. So that's a big difference there. So talk to Tiffany on that one.
She throwing them.
Thanks the doormat. I was just going to say that I think a lot of times the reason women don't like that word is because they've either been with a man who have abused the word, or they've never been a man that was worthy of the submission. And I do believe submission is doable. But I also understand that if he's not submitted to God, like she said, you can't submit to him. What am I submitting to? And so for me, submission is going to look like I'm marrying a man that I trust to lead me to God, that's going to lead the family to God, that's going to, I got married really young. I was 21 when I got married before, and he was in church, but it's a difference in being in church and being God-led.
Yeah.
if I'm following a man that I know is after God's heart, then it's going to be very easy. And then I'm going to trust that when it's my turn to be in the driver's seat on certain situations, he's going to be like, babe, take the seat. You know, that's him saying, I trust the God in you too, that we're going to get to wherever we're going safely. And so to me, that's what duality looks like.
All
Yeah.
right. Yes. Hallelujah. Right.
No, that's good.
Amen.
You can say, what's your take, Bob?
That's the same thing.
Oh.
You should know.
Yeah.
I mean, he should know between then and there.
I do. I understand. So in terms of submission and just in terms of not allowing, well, it's not a dominating piece,
Right.
and the woman really understand their value and even I always talk to my boys and we talk about how we don't expect our women to uh well, we aren't to dominate or go
Right,
speak
right.
over them, force and all that kind of stuff, because that's
Right.
that's not biblical.
Right.
It's nothing biblical about that, but it's also really learning the value of each person. And so we always talk about if your wife is better or significant other is better at something, let them take the lead. That's part of being the head of the household. Learn what the gifts are and pull the gifts out of your mate and not just try to dominate. I'm gonna do it better or I'm gonna do it just because I'm the man. It don't work like that. And I think when we talk about an attitude of deal with my attitude, I think that affects the woman's attitude. You come home, you're demanding this, you're doing this, you're saying this and that, you're being abusive in your words, your tone, you're abusing their emotions. It builds what we was talking about, like Tiffany said earlier, in terms of a almost a fatigueness in a woman or a tiredness. I'm sick of this.
Wear 'em out.
I'm sick of this. Right. You want out, which creates this attitude. And I think that's has happened from even generation to generation.
Right.
And it needs to be addressed. Like stuff has to change.
Right. And you find some women over the years, the man, he worked hard, and then when he come home, then there's no meal done, the house is dirty, clothes it's not washed. Sometimes you have a lot of things to deal with when it comes to that area in life. And the same happen nowadays. It's in some cases you find a lot of stay-at-home dads.
Yeah.
And they do that. They wash the clothes, take care of the kids, take them to school and stuff like. But it's not too many that you can find who would do that, and they do that. He and the wife has agreed because the wife ended up making more money than the husband. So therefore, they agreed that this is an area that they both submitted in, that he's going to do this and she's going to do that. And then it doesn't say that it's going to always be that way, but it makes a difference when a father is really in the house with their children.
I like how this person put it. Miss Smith says 2 seats in the front. Although he drives, but when it's my turn to drive, my husband is okay with it.
All right, that's it.
I like
that. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good visual.
Right. I like that.
So just in terms of attitudes and and portraying, in terms of life, how should when we talk about boundaries, setting up boundaries, and you talk about even dealing with girlfriend relationships, having maybe other people involved from the family or girlfriends, because a lot of times you want to talk to somebody, you want to share, what you're going through or unleash with somebody, which sometimes can also create an attitude in terms of, because they're getting it from getting it from their friends or getting it from outside sources. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I can only deal with that. With talking about me, I've never had a close friend like that I would tell them, my business. Not even when my husband and I, when we first got married, nobody knew anything about what was going on in our house. My parents, his friends, or my friend. And so until nobody started knowing about it until my husband started preaching about it. And so, and we worked our problems out, whatever we had together. And so we didn't hear this person over here said, well, you know, he did such and such, or she did such and such, and she said this and he said that. Nobody never knew. Those first few years, that's when we were married, we had to really learn each other and certain things that we had to not do and that kind of thing. But it worked out. But everybody is not like the two of us.
Yeah.
Relationships today, especially not like that. You have to have somebody you can confide in, somebody you can trust.
Yeah, and you probably need it nowadays more so than ever.
Yeah. What's your view, Tiff?
I think that you have to make sure you know who you're talking to, and make sure you know their hearts and their intentions as well, because everybody that's not with you face doesn't necessarily mean you well. But if we're talking about friends, that means if I'm calling you my friend, I've already qualified you to be that friend. And so I don't feel like you should tell everybody your business, because they don't know how to separate between what you did and you done made up with them, and now they still mad at them. You have to be mindful of it. But one thing I would advise against at every level is going to social media with what's happening in your marriage and your relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing more cringeworthy than going on social media and seeing a husband blasting his wife and vice versa. And then they're going to be back together next week anyway. So I think you do have to be mindful of, if you're going to confide, I think we all need outlets, whether it's counseling or, mentor an older couple, or whatever the case is. Some people do need outlets to keep them from having mental breakdowns. But you still have to be mindful of the company that you keep and who you allow to know some of the inner dealings of your relationships, so you can guard it and protect it.
Right. That's true.
That's good. So what we're talking about, just to add to also, one of the conversations that came up last week was, we talked about helpmates. And what really is a helpmate, and what does that mean, and how does that even affect, the woman's attitude?
To me, a helpmate is you trusting of one another. It's a team. You have to realize that you are a team, and you can help me where I'm wrong, and I can help you where you're wrong, and we're not gonna fall apart when we tell each other what we think. And a lot of times, a helpmate what you're saying to that person may be the right thing, and it may be the wrong thing. But if you're a team, you're gonna try to get get it right, so that you don't have these problems. To me, a helpmate. I don't know.
Because I'm thinking about Adam and Eve. I'm going back to Genesis. What God made it. And he said she's to be his helpmate. I'm going to make someone who's suitable. Who's compatible. Who to you. But in those things, she's compatible, she's suitable. But guess what? At the same time, you still the leader.
Right.
So she is. It started way back then. She is to follow you as you follow Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
As you follow me. So that's what that is saying.
But most people don't want to do that.
Most people don't want to do that now. But that's what it's saying. And guys, that's why God has not changed his word. He still holds man accountable for the home.
Yeah.
So when you go before him and stand before him, don't ask what. Well, it was Ernestine who didn't know. What did you do with the woman I gave you?
Right.
Yeah.
That's still staying. So
you see, I don't think. Well, maybe most of them do, but I know so a lot of women do not see that man is the head of the house.
God has not changed.
I don't
He's still the leader.
He's still the leader. I don't care what's going on. That's why I say you have to talk about things, and you might think you're right. But the Lord, you can go sleep that night. The Lord gonna show you that the head of the household is right.
Yeah, but
That's why you gotta be careful who you
Yeah.
pick as your head and who you
sometimes the rose,
following.
you know why the
You better
roses,
know where you going.
yeah. You know why sometimes the roles are switched?
Yeah.
Because women make all this money above the man, so they become the leader because they feel like I'm taking care of everything, so I'm
Yeah.
leading. So you just follow me because you're not doing anything to help me. I'm bringing it in.
I
You
want
follow
to say
me.
something on the help me. Like he said about the whole Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
So when God created heaven and earth, he made, male and female animals, or the male and the female. But then when he got to Adam, he only created Adam. And so he
That's
looked at
right.
him and said, it's not good that Adam would be alone.
That's
And
right.
then that's when he took Eve out of Adam and created her. And then he
Right.
brought them together and he told them, now you be fruitful and multiply. My responsibility as the woman, as the wife, is to multiply what's in my husband.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
That
That's
means
good.
that he has a three-part vision.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's it. That's the
women
word.
are to enhance their
Enhance
husband.
their husband.
Enhance it. Yes. That's our responsibility. That's how I help. Like Dr. Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles Monroe said, you give a woman a house, she's gonna make it a home. You give her groceries, she's gonna make a meal. That's my job as his helpmeet, is to take what he gives and make it more beautiful.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
that's it.
Thank you,
That's
Jesus.
it. That's it.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. But y'all know we at the end of the show.
Okay.
And this hour went by fast.
We enjoyed you, Tiffany.
Yeah, thank you,
I
Tiffany.
enjoyed you all too.
Share your social media so people can follow you.
Facebook, everything. Facebook, website, Instagram. It's Tiffany Lameia, just like you see it. TiffanyLameia.
All right, cool. And then glad to have my mother and my godmother here. As always, want to thank everybody for joining. Please make sure you see at the bottom of the screen that you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. We love you. We're here every Thursday from 11 to about 12 o'clock, 1 hour of making you stronger and better. So I see you next week. And as always, do whatever you can to make yourself stronger and better. Love you all. Talk to you later.
Love you.
Thank you, Tiff.
Bye-bye.